Years ago, somebody said one time, the secret to a happy marriage is still a secret, or something like that. And that may or may not be true, but we don't know why it was called that. In fact, it's under wraps. We're instructed not to ask where that name comes from. We just accept it, and we expect you to accept it as well. Certain things, you got to pick the hill you want to hide on. I kind of like it. The other side, I think it's a better side of midnight. I think it's beyond. I think it's a better. It's the best side of 1 a.m. But anyway, that's Eastern time and you're elsewhere. What am I saying? I'm rambling. I'm a rambling kind of guy. I don't even know where to start. First, I got to tell you something. If you want to know absolutely nothing, watch cable news. If you really want to know nothing, if you want to know the routine, if you want to learn the routinized retinue, the nonsense, watch cable news. And they will tell you, and this is left and right. Now, if you want to be a conservative, you want to be a prototypical bumper sticker playbook, cookie cutter conservative, one of these Trumpies, great. Now, I've said this before. There's so much about President Trump that we have no other choice. It's not like, with all due respect, I love the guy, but there's nobody else. He's great and everything, and thank God he's there, but there's nobody else. You got that? Nobody else. There is nobody else. Let me see if I can say that again. Maybe you don't understand, but I'm saying there's nobody else. We had 4 years of an auto pen, followed by this moron, this psycho-babbling logo-lalic, a verbally incontinent fool that still hasn't gotten better. She still hasn't gotten better. I could take riffraff. I could put him in front of a group, but he might say, look, I don't know if I want to speak. Say something. Look, I don't, say something. Oh, say it! God, I miss that. And also, he might say, give him a ticket, which is another thing which has no. That's right, exactly. Sounds almost like a turkey gobble, doesn't it? Like a turkey call.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Oh, I miss those. Oh, yes.
You made my case.
That's right. It's a pastiche. You married a mosaic. It's a veritable
Moose-bouche.
Yes. You got to know what this is. Little do we know that we put together a sampling mix of people who actually call. All of these are actual calls. In any event, but I could take a riff and I could put him out there and I could say something. And he goes out there and he does it. And I said, I'll do it again. And let's say he speaks before a garden club. And you know that he'll get better at it. And then better. You can't help but get better. If I say, come on, let's run down the street. I don't know about running. Let's run. Let's run a block. All right, I'll run a block. Next day, let's run again. You know you're going to run faster? You automatically get better. Except for Kamala Harris, who doesn't get better at all. I've never seen anything like it. She actually gets worse. Because she is mentally retarded. I'm sorry you're not supposed to say that, but I can't think of any other word. So that in mind, there is nobody but Trump. There's nobody else. You do understand that, right? You can argue. Every now and then we got these complete yokels, these jadrules calling up about communism, this and socialism. Oh, shut up with that. What are you talking about? Listen, Abby Hoffman, get a grip. 2025. There's no social. You don't even know what you're talking about, okay? Now, that being said, the president, when it comes to foreign policy, it's insanity. Absolute insanity. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. People around the world are saying, what is he talking about? And I know you're supposed to say, well, I don't really care what do you think. Well, I care what people think. I really do. He has no idea. Putin, they're laughing their asses off. And every day, well, we got a 25% tariff against Micronesia. What? Do you understand that? Of course you don't understand this. Of course you don't understand this. I can tell. Sounds good, though. And you see what he's doing to the Rose Garden, this whole ball, this, I don't know. Okay. Hey, look, he's paying for it himself. Bless his heart. But so I'm not thrilled. And his cabinet, oh my God. Pam Bondi, is she in the back of milk cartons? Anybody see her lately? I think she's come back recently. And I think she's great and everything, and she's terrific, but she single-handedly, either by virtue of orders or on her own initiative, took Epstein and just destroyed it. Absolutely destroyed it. With her binders, and I've got lists, and I mean, it was a disaster. A disaster. Then she was off for a while. She had a little corneal abrasion, or she had some medical emergency. I thought, she's gone. She'll come back. They'll say, you know what? They're going to pick somebody else. Because there's one thing about Trump. When he's done with you, he's done with you. That's it. But I guess she's still there. Again, announcing what she's doing. Can you believe this? Can you imagine Rudy Giuliani or one of these people announcing, and we're going to be going after the Colombo crime family next. What? That's right. We have a strike force. Really? Yes. Why are you telling us? Because we're stupid. Kash Patel, out of his league, out of his mind. And they're making statements about his girlfriend. I don't know. Look at her neck. Oh, no, not again. The thyroid cartilage, another Macron? Is that what you're saying? Well, she's an Israeli agent. Oh, for God's sake. You didn't catch that, did you? Of course not. Where are you going to catch this? What, a Fox News? I don't think so. Then you got this other jabroni, this Dan Bongino, I don't know, he's shaken to his core. Those are three absolute lightweights. Get rid of them, start over again. It's okay. You can do a mulligan, do it again. You know golf, do it again. Pick somebody else. Kristi Noem, what is she doing? I'm a DHS Barbie. Look, I'm so profoundly unimpressed. I mean, really say, please, Mr. President, what are you doing? We love you. And I told Putin, they're laughing their ass off. You're sending 2 nuclear carriers. What do you want to do with those things? Have you ever, you know who Scott Ritter is? Have you heard what Scott Ritter says? As soon as he says, oh, you're sending them down? Oh, good. We'll keep an eye out for them. They're going to be right there. We'll fight. Then you can't move. You got to just sit there at the bottom of the ocean or whatever the hell you're. Why are you doing this? And this general, I don't know who this new general is. Then again, how would I know who a general is? So let me think. Let me see if I can make this very, very clear. If you expect some suck buddy over here to sit there and say, "Oh, everything's great. Oh, he's wonderful," you got the wrong guy here. When he's good, okay? But I ain't going to do it. I'm not going to suck up to him all the time. I'm not one of these sycophants. I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. This may come as a surprise to you. He works for me. He works for you. I'm not a member of a fan club. Okay. You got that? Well, let me tell you what happened yesterday. Yesterday I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I thought, you have got to be kidding. It was announced that the Trump administration required U.S. states and cities to pledge not to boycott Israeli companies. You know, BDS, boycott, divestment, and sanction. They had to pledge not to boycott Israeli companies to qualify for $1.9 billion in federal disaster preparedness grants from FEMA. I thought, this is a mistake. There's no way. No. These funds cover search and rescue gear, emergency staff salaries, backup power system, terrorism prevention support. And this policy targets anti-Israel, or as they say, BDS movement. Though critics say it largely symbolic, since over 34 states already have anti-BDS laws still. And New York City is set to receive about $92 million, must comply. I thought to myself, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that in order to qualify for FEMA, disaster funds. We have to pledge again fealty to Israel? Wait a minute, what? And if East McKeesport decides to vote for BDS, if they want to boycott Israel, South Africa, China because of the Uyghurs, Russia, Ukraine, maybe the UK, maybe the Australia because of their limitations of free speech, you're going to withhold emergency funds. No, that's okay. You can boycott them. That's okay. Not Israel. I thought, you're kidding me. First of all, nobody knows what BDS is. They have no idea what you're talking about. I know you know. Most people don't have any idea what you're talking about. You're not going to hear about this on Fox News. You're not going to hear about any of this stuff. Nothing. They don't know anything. CNN, same thing. I mean, my jaw dropped. I thought, you're kidding me. Well, then, facing the immediate backlash, the Trump administration then said, you know what? Never mind. Sorry, we're going to reverse our policy. The policy linking FEMA disaster funds to anti-boycott pledges on Israel. First Amendment scholars, legal experts, everybody with two neurons and a working synapse warned it violates the First Amendment by conditioning aid on political beliefs. Governors, civil libertarians, even conservative lawmakers criticized the move as this unconscionable overreach. DHS announced it will no longer require states to certify their stance on Israel boycotts, restoring access to the $1.9 billion in preparedness grants. That is insane. I don't care if it's Israel, China, Russia, Ukraine, Spain, Portugal. It doesn't matter. We have lost our minds. Do you hear what I'm saying? Well, thank God. And I look at people. First of all, they don't know anything about it because they watch cable news. They know nothing about this. And I'll get this from people. Well, I do support Israel. What does this have to do with anything? What are you talking about? What does this have to do with anything? We're losing our minds. Do you know what's happening right now? You know you've lost Marjorie Taylor Greene, Cindy McCain. No, you don't know anything because you're in La La Land. You think everything's groovy. You think everybody's happy. Everybody's terrific. I cannot believe. I'm serious. And this is not about, please don't call it anti-Semitism. It's not. You know it once and for all. Stop that. Just stop that. This has gone the way of racism and xenophobia. See, what they do is, whenever they don't like what you say, they attack you. Not the theory, not what you're saying, not the guts of what you're saying, but you. Oh, you're a racist. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're a lunatic. Tucker Carlson did a great piece yesterday on Oklahoma City. You know nothing about Oklahoma City. Timothy McVeigh, you know nothing about that. You know nothing about 9/11. You know nothing about anything. I promise you. How can you? Why? Because you're watching cable news. You're listening to regular, conventional, traditional news that doesn't ever get into that. If you want alternative, civilian, citizen, foreign, anything other than what you normally hear, you're not going to get this on cable at all. Nowhere. And I've spent 25, I don't know how many years, at least, certainly since I was red-pilled after 9/11. I spent my whole life always having to explain, okay, let me start again. Here's what you don't know. And they look at you with this look of what? The level of nescience, the level of ignorance, the level of non-appreciation of the truth is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. And it's just, so luckily this corrected itself. But imagine one day if somebody says, okay, let's say Mom Donnie becomes president. And he says, all right, New York, do you want some of this FEMA business? Well, you better pledge fealty to Planned Parenthood, climate change. You have to boycott. You have to be against gun rights, gun safety, gun possession. We're going to condition FEMA this time regarding something we want. Oh, that's right. We don't like your position on climate change. We want you to sign this particular. We want you to sign the Kyoto protocols, or else you're not going to be entitled to that money. Oh, and we don't like what you're pro-life. Nope. Sorry. And we don't like the fact that you have a policy where trans women cannot compete in sports. Oh no, forget it. You're not going to get the money. How would you like that? How would you like that? Because that's what you're allowed. You're supposing that whoever's in charge is going to use their right mind. Listen, let me explain something to you. We've lost our minds. I mean, we really have lost our minds. We've got a lot of stupid people out there with a big mouth. And all they think about is flags and slogans and bumper stickers and cookie cutter stuff. This is on both sides, whatever the aisle. People who just are sloganeers, they have no idea about the big picture. They have no idea about what the Constitution is about. I mean, this is really scary. No. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not just saying this. I swear to you. We have right now, I heard something yesterday. What was it? Bobby Kennedy came out and was so happy. Remember when Bobby Kennedy was going to go and tackle that, the autism and the... Now we have, what did we talk about yesterday? Guys, Cheerios or something. I mean, I don't even know anymore. I don't recognize what's going on here. What is happening? And one more thing. Would you, Mr. President, please tell Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, shut up. Why are you telling everybody what we've got? Why are you giving the whole script? Tulsi Gabbard wants to be a star. She wants to be a star. She wants to be loved and revered and wanted and just, she wants, you know who was like that? Carrie Lake was like that. Remember her? Carrie Lake? Oh my God. Kash Patel, he's on every podcast. They want to be podcast stars. They don't know how to keep their mouth shut. I swear to God. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. Listen, it's one thing for the president to use, Truth Social, which is fine to let people know. I got that. That's okay. I have no problem with that. But when these people go on and they're telling us everything, and they're writing, why am I telling Jim Comey and Brennan that they're now perhaps being referred and other people as well? Why did we do this? Answer this? Anybody can answer? No, you can't answer the question. And people now, I look at them and I can see right now the looks on people's faces, just that slack jawed, huh? With a trail of drool. Like, what are you talking about? Because they've never thought about this. It's almost like you're saying, there's something wrong with this? Yes, there's something wrong with this. Yes. For the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about Epstein and saying nothing. We got the list. Does he have the list? The client list? The list? The list? We got the list, the files. We got the files, got the client list, got the black book, got the logs. What are you talking about? I don't know. We talked about this forever. Dershowitz is on every show saying, I'm saying, stop talking about Epstein. There's no Epstein. And let me go one step further before we take our first interruption. Nobody is going to get arrested. Nobody is going to be indicted. Nobody's going to get a parking ticket. Nothing is ever done. The Democrats do that. They know lawfare. They went after Trump, twice, impeached him twice. They're going to go after him with the emoluments clause. They went after him using, I still don't understand the whole Tish James thing about the overvaluation. We got that really screwy case with E. Jean Carroll. Nothing stopped them. Tish James, anything in the cap happened with her in the mortgage thing? Nope. What about Adam? What's his name? Adam. Oh God, what's his name? Adam. Oh, for God's sakes, the other one. He's got his own particular problem with his mortgage. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing happens. Nobody gets charged. It just Adam Schiff. Nothing happens. Let me just say this, and then I swear to God I'm taking a break. Nothing happens. But all I know is yesterday, I couldn't believe we were going to make $1.9 billion in our emergency funds contingent upon not utilizing First Amendment right to boycott. Whether you like it or not, it's a different story. I can't believe what's happening. 800-848-9222. And I can see the expressions like, what? You mean there's something wrong with this? Yes, there's something wrong with it. There's something wrong with it. Say it!
The Other Side of Midnight.
I'm trying to, I don't know about you, but everybody, I guess all of us have, for lack of a better word, a kind of a red pill moment. This thing that made you say like, wow, that's not, I think mine might have been Santa Claus. Oh yeah, because that one, nobody ever wants to talk about this, but the fact that my parents and society told me something, they told me, oh yeah, there's a Santa Claus. Oh yeah, you sure now, right? Yeah. Because this story about Santa Claus makes no sense. No, it's different. Okay. Santa Claus, yeah? Yep. Then you know how that one went. So, what about God? Oh, no. We were on the level that you told me the same thing about Santa Claus. Well, Santa Claus and God are completely different. Yeah, but how do I know? How do I know when to believe you? How do I know you're not telling me another story? Because all we're doing is telling you all of this stuff. You know who doesn't lie to you? Sports. Sports says this is the score. You can think whatever you want about the Yankees or the Mets, but if they're not in the playoffs, they're not in the playoffs. That's it. You can spin it any way you want, but the reality is a reality. And in fact, if you go on a sports show and you really don't understand sports or baseball, they'll kick you off. They will kick you off. This is the most important thing in the world. They will say, excuse me, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. But on cable news, no problem. Just wear different glasses. There are people, listen to what I'm saying, who are on cable news who were there because they have funky glasses. And they change their glasses. You think I'm kidding? You think I'm kidding, don't you? You see what they're doing now with the Colbert? Colbert. They don't know what to do with that. They still don't, nobody knows what to do. It is hilarious, as the kids say. 800-848-9222. Let's go to Father Joseph, a kind of an interesting dude, someplace in a mythical, magical place called Pearl River. You're on the other side of midnight with Lionel. Padre, how are you?
Hey, Lionel. How you doing tonight?
Beauteous.
I got to tell you, buddy, you're the smartest guy on the radio.
That's not saying much, but thank you.
Well, no, and I listen to WABC all day long, and I like everybody. But you're the first one to make sense about, they talk about this, I can't even think of his name, the weirdo that's running for mayor.
Zoran Mamdani.
Yeah, I can't even say his name. What are they doing? Your monologue was absolutely right. They talk about this guy, they make fun of him, they say how stupid he is, blah, blah, blah. Why aren't they...
Or
Anyways,
they have a bunch of, and this is nice too, to have a nice, fundraiser or something for somebody else, but I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Do you talk to the other guys?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you talk to the other guys that have shows on ABC?
No. No, we don't. No. No. I'm frankly, I'm sleeping or I'm walking around in a coma half the time. No, one of the things I want to do is very simply this. Ultimately speaking, the only way I'm going to get New York City to embrace something else, now follow me, Father, is to change their mind. Their mind. Not my mind. But change their mind. Now how do I change their mind? How do I get them to say, listen, you made a big mistake. I know you've been a Democrat and you've been a progressive, and I know you've thought that Republicans never really did anything for you, but you're wrong. There's a different world now, and here's why. How do I explain this? What do I do? How do you use opera conditioning or aversion stimuli? Do I punish them? Do I scare them, or do I lure them? What do I do? What am I doing? I would absolutely, positively work this at a propaganda level, the likes of which is nobody's ever seen. I would go to Elon Musk. You are familiar with like Palantir and how we can use Palantir, by the way, is going to completely remove the classic extortion that, Epstein business, because they're going to have everything you've ever done. They know everything about you. They don't need to set you up with some 12-year-old. They don't need to do that. But I would have every single thing available. I would know where people voted, how they voted, who they were, and what specifically I could do to target them. And I'm going to tell you something, Father. You know what the answer to this is? Lying. To be able to tell them, I'm going to lie the same way he is lying. I'm going to give you a counter narrative that I may not be able to produce. But I'm going to find out what is it that they want. And then I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do this and how I have to make them think that they're not giving up the fealty they've pledged by coming over to my side. I have to figure out, how do I change people's minds? How do I, when you either do a liturgy or some type of a homily, or you're trying to convince and persuade, not just explain, but to persuade, to have them agree, not just have them say, yep, I hear you. So that's what I want to do. So what are we doing in that respect? Nothing. They're just making fun of him. Making fun of him. His name, making fun of the fact that he tweeted something years ago. The other day, did you see this? When they had that tragedy with that poor police officer who was shot. Apparently, this Zoran, in a tweet sometime back, said, I want to either dismantle or disassemble or remove the particular unit that was called upon to respond to this tragedy. So they're saying, aha! Okay, now do you think that's going to really make any difference? Do you think that's going to say, oh, now we're talking? So what did Zoran say? I didn't mean that, or I changed my mind, or you've got it wrong. And that was it. End of discussion.
People don't care.
They don't care because they've never felt a part of it. And all they know, do you remember, Father, we're roughly the same age. Do you remember when you were maybe a teenager? I know I was. I loved to act different. It was in the early 70s, kind of. And I liked to grow my hair longer. Or I like to wear this particular kind of clothing. Or I like to say this, or think this, or wear puka shells, or whatever the heck it was. So I stood out. And I got under the skin of my parents. Not really them, but I things that sounded crazy. Peace signs and groovy and this. But I kind of grew out of it. There are people in New York City who never grew out of it. And the only thing they have is this adherence to a belief system that they don't think is radical. They don't think it's nuts. They think it's the only thing that's going to help them. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely. Hey, I missed out on a trip to SeaWorld because I wouldn't cut my hair.
See that? It's the idea that it was funny. Recently they were talking about the movie Inglourious Bastards, and Christoph Waltz, who played the German, the Nazi, the whatever, they asked him, what did you have to do to get in touch with that evil character? And he looked at him and said, he's not evil. He's good. He sees himself as good. What are you talking about? People don't think of themselves as evil. You think of them as evil. So when we have these people here in New York who are going to vote for Donnie, what do we call them? Stupid. There's a low turnout. They don't care. They're easily duped. Immediately, they're stupid. They're stupid people who believe in this, and they fall for this crap all the time, and they're not paying attention, and they're going to get theirs, and there's nothing we can do, and they're stupid, and we're laughing at them. Isn't that great? Doesn't that just lure them in? Can you imagine speaking to your flock and say, you people don't get it, do you? Because you're a bunch of sinners, and you always will be. You don't even know what the hell I'm doing talking to you people. You're going to end up burning in the lake of fire. So let's stop kidding ourselves, all right? Just get the hell out of here. Wait a minute.
How did you get in my head so well? One more thing.
Yes,
one more thing. The Boris and Natasha Bullwinkle.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. I talk to so many people, and they still think of Russia the way we did back in the 1960s. They think that Putin is sitting there just waiting to attack us.
But they also have this idea that he's a monster.
Right.
He's a monster. And,
he was in the KGB. He hasn't changed.
Well, you know what?
I don't see any other world leader in church as much as him.
Well, you know what? He's Catholic.
Icons as much as him.
Right. He's Catholic.
Making the sign of the cross as much as him.
Right. By the way, he probably does the sign of the cross your way, your style. He does it differently. But let me tell you something about that. Let me tell you the perspective, Father Joseph. They asked him one time, he said, isn't it true? Is it true that he was with the KGB? And they said, oh, yes. Now, well, what if I said to you, aren't you with the CIA? Yes. My son's with the FBI. Yes. To them, KGB, FSB now, maybe not NKVD under Stalin, but this was something you aspired to. This was the creme de la creme. These people are so stupid, they don't even understand that that was something that they looked up to. That was... I mean, we're thinking about torture and pulling people's fingernails out. I mean, I cannot believe. My favorite is, when we were kids. This month I'll be 67, and I remember, and I love saying that. By the way, I go up to complete strangers. Say, you just want to let you know I'll be 67. Now, when I was a kid, we did this thing called, baby, you're the same way. We had this thing called geography. And geography was kind of like an idea of like kind of where things are. And it was so great. It's like, look at all these. We would have a globe and you could actually look at it and hold it and turn it around and get perspective. And I love to, and I have on my desk this little globe I got at Dollar Tree. And I used to carry it with me. And I wanted to hand it to people to say, quick, find Ukraine. Roughly. You don't have to, no point to it, because just kind of give me an idea where it is. You have no idea what you're talking about. I said, it's right here. You see this? This is Russia. And you see this right there? This is Ukraine on the border. Now, what would you think? Russia would have a beef about them having a NATO contingent or a battalion on their border. You think you'd have a problem with that? In 1962, we were going to go to war with Russia because they dared to have rockets or missiles in Cuba. It's actually Turkey at the time, but it's a different story. And we had the Monroe Doctrine. We would never have tolerated that for a moment. But we're expecting Putin to sit there and say, just let him. And by the way, Ukraine is still not in NATO. After all of this nonsense, they're still not in NATO. And that Victoria Nuland, that harridan, that absolute termagant, the Newlands and the Kagans and the Institute for the Study of War, these warmonger oh my God, these neocons who just dream of war. I could walk up and down. I could go into the Fox newsroom and say, Victoria Nuland, ever hear of her? Who? Forget it. It's like I'm wasting my time. Father, I feel better. I've got this off my chest. I feel like I've been at the confessional with you. I thank you for that.
Anytime.
I owe you one. Our number is 800-848-9222. We'll go back. Oh, and how about this big earthquake? What's with the earthquake? There's this great meme. I hate to do memes, but it's a little plastic chair turned over, and it said earthquake 2025. We survived. Come on, give me a break.
The Other Side of Midnight.
When the ground moves, and it's not supposed to be moving, your response is not necessarily fear. It's inconsistent. Let me ask you a question. Have any of you gentlemen ever figured out why when you get dizzy do you vomit? Now think about this. Now, you don't sneeze, you don't, lose control, become incontinent. Why vomit? Why not cry? Now, of course, you know that the inner ear, the semicircular canals spin, little cilia move back and forth, and I get cilia and cilia. Anyway, but the cilia move, and you have the perception of movement when you're, let's say, in a ride. You're on the Cyclone at Coney Island, and then you stop and you get off, and you still feel like you're moving because your inner ear is moving. Well, that is interpreted sometimes. Dizziness will cause you to vomit, to wax, to become emetic, emesis. Why? Why not sneeze? Why not urinate? Why not worse? Why not flatulate? That'd be good. Hey, I'm so dizzy. Hey, that'll get your attention. Well, the theory behind it is that when your brain figures, wait a minute, we're registering movement here, but our legs are saying, no, we're not moving. There is an inconsistency here. Therefore, your body says, we have ingested a neurotoxin. We have eaten a poison. This is the only thing that can explain. Let's purge it. Let's get rid of it. Dogs do it. Do you ever see a dog eat grass? All of a sudden they're into purgatives. Whenever dogs are great. Whenever they're a little bit like they just want to barf, they'll eat grass. They'll eat whatever it is because there's something about this natural inclination to get rid of whatever is in your system. That's why sometimes when I hear a lot of cable news shows that I don't like, I will stick my finger down my throat, grab my uvula, and yank it until I gag, until I upchuck, which is my way of saying that. But anyway, it's one of those things. It's like, why do we? So that's kind of one of the reasons why people freak out, especially when things are moving. But like I said, in California, they laugh at this. I mean, they really, honest to God, laugh. Let's go back at the phones, back to what I call fun. Let's go to Tony and a place called Clifton, New Jersey. Tony, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Hey, Lionel. I love your chat tonight, your lead-in. One of the things I think about is the whole thought about, being when you do something wrong, how are you going to be? What's the criminal activity you're going to be charged with, and how are you going to be treated? And I look at how, Mayor Giuliani, for the two women in Georgia, for questioning them, he was charged with defaming. And it's kind of like what you're saying. I think what we're going to see in the Mandani universe is that if you are out of line, the new norm is what went on in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're going to see that you need to be realigned with your mental thinking, however we do that. It's not only just how much you're going to pay, but we need to sort of realign your mental process.
You know,
Maybe,
whenever you talk
but
about Mayor Giuliani, I'd love to ask these women, seriously, I've got to ask you a question, Miss and Miss, I think they're mother and daughters, I'm not really sure, but how did you really suffer in your community, in your world, when Rudy Giuliani spoke negatively of you? Seriously, tell me how. You know, it's one thing when you can say, well, Tony's got this little restaurant, it's a pizza joint in Clifton. Somebody wrote a bad review and her business has dropped 75%. She had to close. Now, that would be an example. That was a libel. Somebody lied about something. Or you can point to something. You could say, I felt a direct monetary and pecuniary damage from this. But seriously, how did these women in their community, in their world, how would they have been upset or been affected by something Rudy Giuliani said? Honestly, Rudy towards the end, remember, Rudy towards the end was acting a little goofy. Remember he had that dye in his hair, whatever that stuff was coming down his cheek. I mean, it was there at one point they were standing in front of a porn center and lawn care. I don't know what this was. Things, the wheels were coming off, so to speak. But honestly, how does that even work? How did anybody claim that? That's all.
So Lionel, the justification.
By the way, excuse me, it's 30 past the hour. I know what you were thinking, Tony. It's 30 past the hour. See, I haven't forgotten how to do that. Go ahead.
You know, your priest was a good person for what I'm saying, but really they want you to see the error of your ways. And Ruby Friedman she said, I want people to understand money will never solve all my problems. I can never move back into the house that I called home. I will always have to be careful about where I go. It's this sort of a restitution. You're being, what is it, blackballed? You're being, tarred and feathered. It's almost like you might be tarred and feathered, I think, Lionel.
Well, if perhaps, I understand that people are, I'll guarantee you, a very interesting case is going to watch regarding defamation. Watch what happens regarding, you know who Candace Owens is, correct? Candace Owens is
yeah.
She's a ball of fire. She's a real firestorm on social media. And she claimed, and she has a problem, or she claims that Brigitte Macron, as we say, the president of France's wife, is a man. Okay. She won't let up. Now, okay. Yeah. All right, Candace. She's a man. I know it. Take it easy. All right. Maybe you're right. I don't care. She's in France. We don't care about that. The same people who keep coming after Michelle Obama. I never understood. I'm serious. How easy something can start. Because the people, they're coming after Michelle Obama. She's a man. Big Mike. Ha, ha, ha. Joan Rivers. I'm thinking, wait a minute. Where are you getting this from? Once the momentum starts. So anyway, make a long story short. So they're asking, this Macron, by the way, remember the people who brought the Dominion lawsuits are suing Candace Owens on behalf of the Macrons. And what they want is not necessarily Candace Owens. They want all of the big names, Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon and these big multi-gazillion dollar, podcasts. They want them. See, people forget there are podcasts that you may not know about who get bigger numbers than any show on Fox News or any show on CBS or any show on, you may not think so. Joe Rogan is the number one, probably the biggest podcaster of any sort, maybe ever. And the biggest person in the world, period, is Mr. Beast. And what he does, I have no idea. So anyway, so the Macrons are saying, you have ruined it for us. You are not only claiming that I am a pedophile and violated my husband when he was a kid and blah, 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 and that he's related and that I don't have a brother, but you're starting this thing and it's becoming vicious. There may be something to that because Candace Owens better have something. She better be able to say, here's the goods, so to speak. Here is a picture of your goods. That defamation may make some sense. This other stuff just doesn't. I understand how it works as a lawyer, but I think sometimes there are theoretical defamations, if that makes any sense. All right, Tony.
Listen, Lionel.
What?
Listen, Lionel, listen. Mondani's Markets, LOL, when he gets in and he starts competing with John and John gets in his way, what's going to happen to John? Are we going to have to get him out of prison?
I would not, I think you're speaking to Mr. Katzimatidis. I would put my money on him any day of the week. You know, it's a nice idea to say, we're going to have free stores. It's like, what? What? Now, what I would do is, if you're going to make something up, I would say free liquor stores. That would be something. Free liquor. Why are you buying liquor? It's a good idea. Free, look, what I'm trying to say repeatedly, and I'm saying this over and over again, believe it or not, I'm telling you, is that just by virtue of us laughing about this dude doesn't mean anything. Pete on Staten Island, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Oh, wow. You're talking about vertigo. I suffer from vertigo for the last 35 years. And the thing is, what I do, it helps me out. If I stare at an object or something, everything starts to fall in place, But being an ear...
You would be a great call screener.
Yeah.
Just staring at things for hours on end. Now, let me ask you something. I've heard people with vertigo that one of the things you do is to throw yourself on a bed. Have you done that routine? To try to dislodge the crystals?
That's what I do. What I do is I put a little bit of peroxide mixed with water on a Q-tip, and I stick it on my ear. And I don't put it in, but I let it ooze out whatever's in there, wax the crystals.
What a beautiful
works pretty
thought.
good. It works pretty good.
So you macerate your cerumen. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I do.
Well, I'm glad we cleared that up. I have, every now and then, I admit to something. That I remember Dr. Pimple Popper for a while. I haven't seen her in a while. But did you ever watch those and say, this is addictive? Wouldn't you like to say, could I be in there with it? Could I do that? Yes. I have a friend of mine who's a dermatologist. And one time he said to me, he said, let me tell you one, and he was just talking to us. He said, let me tell you this one thing. I had a sebaceous, whatever, and I had to wear the guard, the shield. And I said, tell me this again. And he said, what? I said, start from the beginning. Don't leave anything out. Could I maybe come in and watch one of those? And he said, I don't think HIPAA, whatever. Forget HIPAA. Knock them out. So I find that fascinating. And I'm not going to explain to you why. I just, especially a nice lipoma, which is a fat, kind of a benign, a big fat globule, like on their neck. And Dr. Pimple Popper would slice it, cut it, and take this globule of fat, this gelatinized, and just drop it on a tray and weigh it. They would weigh this thing. How about rhinophyma when their nose would come in all barnacled? Rhinophyma and acne rosacea combined in this. And then they would cut off this huge cleave hunks of this kind of like this barnacled nose, kind of like Carl Malden on steroids in any event. So what I found interesting as well is this, and I'm sorry, I hope nobody's eating. And if you do, it's 2:40 in the morning. Cerumen buildup. Cerumen is earwax, okay? And some people you might want to, but in India, for some particular reason in India, they have a penchant for cerumen buildup. And they do everything from candles to different things. And my favorite is the guy who just zooms in and he will have a probe or some type of an instrument and pull out about 10 pounds of blocked. You could sculpt with this stuff. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Pilonidal cysts, blackheads. There's a reason for this. Let me tell you something. When I was 13 years old, I went to the doctor and he said, we found some white blood cells in your urine. I said, oh, that's good. He goes, no, it's not good. I said, well, aren't white blood cells? He goes, no. We want to send you to the hospital to take an x-ray, to take a picture. I said, okay, take a picture. Step up against the thing, hold your breath, turn your head and cough, whatever you got to do. I've taken pictures before. Go to the dentist, they put the thing on you. No problem. I'm going to take a picture. Now, the moral of the story is this is about micturition and peeing, which we all laugh at. Okay. So I went there and I said, I'm here to take the picture. They said, okay, go into this room. And whatever. I said, what are we going to do? Where's the thing? You want me to walk up against it? No. We want to run a catheter in you, a Foley, and we're going to fill you up. I said, wait. You didn't tell me about this. They said you're going to take a picture. Well, we're going to take a picture, a good picture. Well, what are you going to do? We're going to take a Foley, a catheter. We're going to run it in you. I said, oh, and I never really thought about it. I was 13. I didn't say well, how are you going to get this in me? I thought maybe it magically just, I don't know, it shape-shifted into your body or something. I didn't really think about it. And then I found out immediately, this is not good. This is not good. So anyway, they ran this thing. I said, thank God that's over. Take the picture. She said, oh, no. We're going to run contrast. I said, we're going to take a picture of your bladder. I said, well, that's what I'm here for. Well, we have to have contrast, so we're going to fill you up. I think it was called either a voiding cystogram or an IVP. I forget the name of it. I said, well, okay. Now let me ask you something, but without going into too much detail. I want you to imagine the worst time you've ever had to really go. I mean, where you thought you were going to explode. Okay? That's nothing. There was gas, and you didn't even get near that. This is every square inch, every centimeter, as they say, everything. So they said, now listen, we're going to be outside, and we're going to run this thing in you, this contrast. Let us know when it's uncomfortable. I said, it's uncomfortable. They go, no, you got to wait a second. But we'll be outside the door. So when it's uncomfortable, just let us know. I said, okay. They closed the door. Whoa. I heard this noise. It was like we don't really have them here, but like in a studio, that suction. Well, this is like 12 feet thick of radioactive, protective, nuclear. So I'm thinking, I don't think they can hear me. So I said, hey! Pretty soon I'm unable to make noise. My abdomen is distended. I look pregnant. I'm making noise that I don't even know what it sounds like. I can't even speak. This stuff is in my soul. It's in my brain. It's in I don't know what this contrast is. I'm looking at it. There's the bag is gone. And the door opens up and I hear this, we forgot. And I said, I'm trying to grab the end of the tube. He goes, no, don't do that. No. There's a balloon at the end of the catheter. I'm grabbing. I want to grab her neck. I want to choke. I want to do something. And the doctor comes and he goes, oh, these are good. these are going to be real good. Then he says, turn over. I said, turn over? Yeah, we'll get the corners of the, oh my God. Ah, yeah. I'm making noises. Okay. So when they got done with this thing, I said, okay, you're done. You can void. I said, great. And I looked around and I said, where? There's no bathroom in there. There's, put it this way, no bedpan would have held this. I said, where do I go? They said, out there. And this is at St. Joseph's Hospital. In the waiting room, there's a restroom in there, in the middle, where people are waiting. Now, whoever made it, I think it was like Phil Spector, Wall of Sound, the acoustics are so loud. So I run in there, grabbing my ass, because I've got this gown on. I run in there. I want you to imagine this. I want you to imagine going to a regular firehouse, taking a regulation fire hose, putting it 6 inches above the water, turning it on full blast. I'm etching stone. I could engrave granite. People, especially old men, were saying, damn. Because, when you get older, damn. Because I'm sorry, you'll find this out later on. You don't have that 4-alarm, firepower. And when I came out, they looked at me. They didn't know whether they wanted to applaud or, record. I said, sorry. So I went back in. I said, so much for that. The reason why, by the way, I got to tell you one more thing about this. This is while we're on the subject. The reason why I tell you this is the next time somebody uses some of the things like pee, I feel like Hyman Roth. Michael, if I could pee $1 million, I would pay just to be able to, what do you say? I pay $1 million just to be able to pee or whatever it is. And I'm sorry to be going into this detail, but I got to tell you this story very quickly. This is the best one ever. Don't forget, same story. This room is in the middle. This wall of sound, baffled, tiled. The echoes are, wow. In the old days, I was sitting there reading. They actually had magazines. This is before we had, cell phones. Where you have, I'm reading Gem Cutters Quarterly, Yachting, Old. I'm bored. This poor man was in there for a colonoscopy. And it was apparently done with this thing called with contrast, which means with a lot of air to distend the. Well, this poor guy was in there, and there was no propofol. You were wide awake. When he got out, guess where he had to go to, let's say, evacuate whatever this 20 pounds of compressed gas and air. Guess where he went? That's right, in the middle of this, in the restroom, with the Phil Spector Wall of Sound echo chamber. This guy went in there, and we were sitting there reading, and it sounded like he was detonating, like anti-artillery. I will never, and we're not looking at each other, and we're trying our best to say, this poor man. But of course, you don't care, because when you go to the hospital, leave your money and your pride at the door. You take all of your self-worth, all of your sense of pride, all of your self-respect, and just throw it out the window. This poor guy said, he's like Al Hurt meets a howitzer. Anyway, when he came out, we all looked at him, and he kind of gave us a sorry. So let me tell you something. You can laugh all you want about little things, about earwax and pilonidal cysts and all that stuff. But if it's the body, it's valid. And there's nothing at all. And when you get older, you really get into this stuff. When you're a baby and when you get older. Because when you're a baby, all they care about is are your bowels and how you're doing and is everything working? Great. Terrific. Hey, doc, look at this diaper, 12 pounds. How does a baby put this? How does it do that? I don't understand. Anyway, that's when you're a baby. Then when you get older, during the middle of your life, nobody really cares. Then towards the end, you pick up, you recreate that interest in evacuation and balance and, all this other kind of stuff, which I find thoroughly and absolutely fascinating. I didn't tell you the good part. After I went, I found that I had a nice diverticulum on my bladder. This nice growth. It was this beautiful, like a little, they always say it's the size of a grapefruit. I don't know, plum, grapefruit, whatever fruit you'd like. So they went into my bladder, cut it off, resected, kind of resutured. So I am a mess. They cut through my abdomen, thread through my bladder. I'm 13 years old. I am dying. And I had some of the most wicked, drugs I've ever had. I'm playing like White Room. And all of a sudden, people from my class came in. I said, oh no. And I was like this. And I had bags of blood. And I was a mess. So one day they told me, we're going to have to take you for a ride. I said, what? Take you for a ride? So you're not going to take me for a ride anywhere. I've got a Foley catheter. I've got this drain. I am so filled with blood and bags. No matter any movement, I'm in agony. So they said, listen, we got to take you for a ride in the wheelchair. I said, I don't want to go in a wheelchair. Well, if you don't, we're going to put a needle in your lung and pull out I said, where's that wheelchair? Let's go. Let's get this thing going. So they put me in the wheelchair. And for some reason, they had like 10 miles of tube. I don't know why. You think they'd have, here's the bag. Here you are. Oh, 3 feet or 4. No, this is like 10 feet. So they're sticking it down the side. And as they're pushing me, remember, all of these tubes in me, there's an inflated balloon to keep them sliding up. So any kind of tugging will not slide out. The tube got caught in the axle. And all of a sudden, as I'm being pushed, I'm feeling this, hey, wait a minute. Yeah! You know that Edvard was at Munch? Remember the howl, the scream, Coppola and Godfather 3? Pacino, where he's screaming and there's no sound. That was me. I grabbed the wheelchair. They had to pick me up, take me back, and uncoil 10 miles of tube from my freshly filleted abdomen and bladder. I was a mess. And I reached over and I grabbed this, I'll never forget, I was going to say nun, this nurse, and said, give me the good stuff. They said, you betcha. And this guy from like the pharmacy or something came, he says, no, don't you worry. I said, oh, I like this. And I realized I had a potential for being an addict as a kid, because they gave me something. They hooked me up and said, push this button whenever you need it. So help me God. I pushed that, and man, I saw birds and rainbows and God, and I could, as Bernard Giles, the serial killer, said, I could see the atoms vibrate. So, moral of the story is this. If ever they tell you they found white blood cells in your urine, run. Just don't even bother. Live with it. Take your chances. How bad can it be? You know what I mean? See, that's the problem. You had to open up your big mouth. You had to go and get checked out. Oh, yeah. Not anymore. Now I ask myself, is this really? Now I go on WebMD. What is this? Should I mention this? I don't know. Don't mention that one. This is okay. This is pretty benign. Our number is 800-848-9222. Wasn't that wonderful? Didn't you love this story of cavernous restrooms and just, see, this is the beauty of what I'm doing. And I started off talking about, of all things, FEMA funding. How do I do it? I have no idea.
The Other Side of Midnight.
And by the way, considering picking up more of my almanac stuff, my beloved wife even noticed that the day we were talking, she says, the trees are beginning to wilt. This is an early fall. The leaves are falling early already. Something is going wrong. Something is very, very different with what's happening. Our number is 800-848-9222. Now, my friends, the subject matter right now is up to you. I've done everything in my power. I've exhausted every subject I can think of. And now I want to kind of coast. I want to sit back and let you do the work. It's that simple. I do my part of it. Now you do yours. This is where every lunatic calls up. Everybody who's sitting around at home saying, oh, I got something to say. Believe me when I tell you something. Everything goes. Even the bad chronics, the borings, the repeats, the same people. Specifically, the demented. Now, let me explain to you something. A little incentive here. If what you're saying is off the charts nuts, you may end up as a promo or be a part of our mélange, our pastiche, our drop mosaic. You might be a part of this. You may not even realize this. You may not. You may be perfect. And we have a slew of them. Why? Because whenever you say something that we find funny or at all interesting, we will mock you and humiliate you in perpetuity. We will take what you say.
Oh, Lord.
That is,
Yes.
that could be you. But you can't push it. You got to let it happen.
You made my case.
That's right. You got to let it go. You got to let it happen. A little more. Kind of a more
The
of a.
answer is very simple.
See, I've no idea why what he's saying is so funny. But what's also great is when you seem not to care that you're demented. I find that interesting. Or that nobody's talking to you. And it doesn't even matter. I find that even more interesting. Hit me with another one. Come on. Just random.
Oh, Lord. I'll talk about solutions.
And this is English.
I'll talk about solutions.
That's right. He's talking about solutions or ablutions. And ablution, of course, is washing of the hands versus ablation, which is the removal, the excision of something. So, yes, 800-848-9222. Remember, anything. I'm letting it go. Whatever. And even better, if you're not sure what you're talking about, my favorite. If you're clueless, my favorite. Let's go back to the phones. Well, really, back to the fun. Johnny in a place called Michigan. Johnny, don't let us down, Johnny. Let us have it.
Okay, I was one of the first to get latripsy for kidney stones.
Now,
Okay.
wait a minute.
Prior
What does
to
that mean? What is latripsy? What does that mean?
That's the operation now that they blast the stone.
Oh, yes. This is where that
Okay.
sonic, they use some kind of sonic, kind of a directed energy, so to speak, to pulverize the stones, hoping they will then pass through your ureters. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Does it
I've
work?
had that a half dozen times. Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. Prior to that, they would go up with a spoon and tell you they were going to fish it out, but all they were doing was loosening it.
Now, wait a minute.
Okay.
They went up with a spoon?
Yes.
Is that what they
something
called it? They would go into your ureter with a spoon?
Yes. Right.
Wow.
And then the next operation is where they would dip you in water and get back. I think that my sister had that. They would be back about 40, 50 feet and then try to blast the stone. Well, that went by the wayside because they were always afraid of hitting the kidney and killing the person.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Stop for a second. Go back to before the spoon. How would they run up through your ureter? Was this like a catheter or something up into your? How did they do that?
They would grease it.
Grease it.
Okay. And just, yes. And today when they put the stent in you, they would put the grease in you, put the stent in you. And with that stent, that's how you pass the stone.
Oh, I
that
see.
Stent. You have that stent in you for about 10 days. Okay. Now, that stent is just a fine tube that's about 12, 14 inches long.
Right.
And it goes to your kidney, to urethra.
Right.
Okay. And, yeah, I've had those stones ever since 1973.
How painful is that? How painful is that?
the stone is the second worst pain you can have in your body.
What's the first word? Working in radio overnight?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Having a baby, then they rate that the kidney stone. The kidney stone with W and 2. All right. Then they have it analyzed. They tell you, oh, this was caused from cheese. You eat too much cheese, too much dairy products.
Cheese?
Yes.
Wow.
Right.
Now, how are
That's
you now?
what
Are
they
you
say.
better now? Are you better? Are you?
Yeah,
Are
I
you-
just had a stone. I'm 87 years old. Okay, I just had a
87?
stone. Yeah.
My God.
And I just had a stone here about 6 months ago. Okay, had it blasted like that, and then they put that tube in me, and then I had to go back and have it pulled out.
God.
Okay, and then the doctor, I used to have him put me out when they pulled it out. This doctor, he's don't worry, I'm used to it. I'll pull it out. Man, I saw stars. when
Oh
he pulled
yes.
that thing
Oh yes. It feels like you're being eviscerated.
Right.
Johnny, I thank you for that, for sharing your pain with us. I appreciate it immensely, and I hope you have continued pain-free health, sir.
Thank you.
Please call me again. I love that. Let's go to Mary. Mary's calling from the land of Lincoln, Illinois, or Illinois. As I'm hearing more people say Illinois. I swear to you, I'm thinking, where have you been? Mary, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Oh, hi. Thank you so much. I think people from Illinois don't say Illinois.
I know
don't
that.
Maybe those are imports. But your story was, I worked in pediatrics for many years. I was a nurse. And so all the stuff you were talking about, I just knew what was coming next. And I was laughing. And I was supposed to be asleep in bed. I got to get up at 7 o'clock, but I didn't want to miss your story. It was a riot.
Oh.
And we forget, when all these things they were doing to little kids, this stuff is also scary. They don't know what the heck is going on.
You know, it's funny because I was in the pediatric. I was 13. I was like at the upper end. And as these kids were coming in for their tonsils, do they even do tonsils anymore? I don't even know if they even do them anymore.
Well, they got a different way. I think they do with the laser, and it's much, much, much less painful.
Well, I did the tonsils myself, but these kids would come in, and there I am, walking around, and my everything's hanging out, and the blood and the whole bit. But Mary, I got to tell you something. I learned how a nurse is a godsend. It's the only link that you have. Doctors you would never see. They barely opened or came in. How's everything going? Come on in, doc. No, it's okay. But the nurses, God bless nurses. I mean that.
Oh,
I mean
thank you. I loved it. I always wanted to be a nurse since I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Do you still do it?
No, I'm retired now, but I worked about 10 years worth of time in pediatrics. I did a couple of other, fields too, but peds was just real comfortable for me. And I didn't get into the real serious stuff. I had a couple of jobs where it was the more, serious stuff. But most of the time it was, a lot of pneumonia, diarrhea, tonsils, all that kind of stuff.
It's funny that you say that. The number of people, how serious diarrhea for a kid, one of the number one international causes of death. It is serious. It doesn't have that sound, but especially when you have a kid, severe, prolonged electrolyte imbalances. I mean, this is serious business. Serious business. Well, God bless you, Mary, and I'm sorry I kept you up.
Oh, one more thing.
Yes,
I wanted to tell you, last night you were talking about people working at night.
Yes.
I worked so many night shifts. I can remember I always had a radio on the job all the time, and it just helped the night go by so much better having that radio on. I appreciate these radio guys that are live on the radio at night instead of, now they do reruns or...
Yeah.
Right. I enjoy... having the radio on every single day.
Oh,
so
listen,
thank you for being a radio guy.
I used to love to hear Art Bell. I liked Larry King in the old days. I liked old, I should say old. What am I saying? I liked overnight. I don't hear that anymore. I don't see can I tell you something? And don't tell anybody I said this. I never listen to radio. Never. I have never been a radio person. Never listened. I like a lot of, I'm more of a YouTube. I like not so much even that. I like Arrest videos and I'm demented. But when there was local radio, it was different. I used to enjoy because I got my start. I never wanted to go into radio. I called up. I loved calling up because nobody knew what to do. Because in the old days, radio was very, very proper. It wasn't mean. It was, nobody, it was before Howard Stern or nobody thought of it as a shock jock. It was always polite and hi, how are you? And that sort of thing. So I would call up and I would let these people have it. And I had the best time because they just didn't know how to handle it. There was a show years ago in Florida, as I call it, called Desperate and Dateless. And these poor people would call up, and I would do characters. And one character I did was Delma from Dover. Dover was this hick place. And my line was, I'm just horny. And I would call up, and these women would say, well, I'm looking for a nice partner. I like to share tapioca recipes. And when I heard this, I called up. I had my own number. So I called up and he said, well, here's somebody who's interested. His name is Delmer from Dover. Now, people knew what was coming, but this poor old lady didn't know. So I called up and said, I'm just horny. He said, well, that's all right. I like to take cream cheese and bean cherries and knock them off about 20 feet with a slingshot. Do you hate the smell of burning hair? And burning rubber. I'm going to give you a headboard coma. And these people say, well, that's quite all right. And I loved it because there would be these people who didn't understand that it was a joke. I did another character called Lud. And Lud was this old man who, whenever there was anything horrible, any kind of terrible thing involving, let's say, kids or old people, some horrible murder, Lud would call up like this and say, do you know what I'd do if I catch them people who do that thing to that old man? You know what I'd do if I had the chance to get that guy who did that to that little kid, whatever it was. I'd take him outside and set him on fire. Anyway, so that was my whole thing. Lud would want to set you on fire. So as it became, people would know, the listeners know who I was, but sometimes the host wouldn't. And there'd be another one too. There'd be some poor guy who his life savings was wiped out by burglars who found his safe, and it's horrible. And now let's go to line 3. Let's go to Lud in Plant City. You know what I'd do if I catch that guy who stole that money? I'd take him outside and set him on fire. And then okay, thank you very much. So anyway, one day they were talking about civil forfeiture. What do you do when you catch a plane, something that was used to transport dope or money? So I called up and said, you know what I'd do if I find some guy who transports money in a boat? I'd take that boat, put it in front of him, sit him down, and make him watch as I set it on fire. And that went on, and then that would change, and people would listen to it. And then that eventually, one day, turned into, would you maybe want to come in and try your hand at this? Yeah, sure, what the hell. That was October of 1988. Ta-da! True story. They said, you want to come work? I said, okay. They said, well, I said, you think they're going to, I said, don't these weekend people, Don't they do barter and trade? I heard this thing where they have to pay the station. Yeah, I said, well, I'll pay, but I don't know. I don't know how much do you think I'm gonna have to pay. I didn't know. So I met with the program director, and he said, let's talk about money. I said, okay. And I have my suit on, I'm a lawyer and everything. And he says, well, what do you think's fair? And I said, well, what do you think's fair? Brilliant negotiating on my part. He said, $100? I said, ooh, $100. He goes, that's all we can pay you. I said, what? I swear to God. I go, you're going to pay me? I said, it's a deal. This is like, that was it. I said, this is great. 4 hours on a Sunday, $100. I had all my friends show up. We had beer and we broke every rule there was. There was nobody there in the weekend. I got the code. I sent my friends up, cops. And we were, it was a rip-roaring time. And I'm sure I broke rules. I would call people without their knowledge, broke every FCC rule, call them. One time we opened up a newspaper and they were doing one ads. And one guy said they wanted an aggressive salad maker for some restaurant. So I called up on the air. I said, hey, you need somebody who's aggressive? I said, I got my own knives. You got chickpeas? I love chickpeas. Now, the program director said, do you know what you did? You called people. You didn't get their okay. I said, am I supposed to get their okay? He said, you don't just call them. And the board up, they yelled at this kid. I said, hey, don't blame him. Blame me. And he says, no, we're going to blame him. You don't know what you're doing. The Girl Scouts call. Oh, God, they almost lost their, well, did they lose their license? But that's how I got into it. You know what? I got an idea. Let's call some people. It's 3:30 in the morning. We'll just deny it. Seriously, just call people up right now. Police stations, the 4-2, the 3-1. Let's just call people up. Let's call Noam at his desk. Is there a direct link, like a hotline for the news department? Let's call up and I can be the aggressive salad maker. Or we can talk about setting them on fire. Our number is 800-848-9222. We'll go to Dick and Laura and Mark and Reese and a whole bunch of other people on this, The Other Side of Midnight with Lytle.
The Other Side of Midnight.
Laura in a place called Willowbrook, Illinois. You're on The Other Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Hey, Lionel.
Hey, Laura.
I'm on a YouTube kick, so the latest thing I found I have to tell you about.
Okay.
14 beloved actors from Father Knows Best, and they're deceased. They tell you their story, and they tell you how or why they died. It's like, oh, my gosh, I don't know why I find why or how somebody died fascinating.
Wait a minute.
I think I have a mental problem or something.
14 on Father Knows Best?
Yeah. I didn't know there was that many guest stars because obviously they're not the main characters.
Now, of course, Robert Young, Bud, remember Bud, who later on was a I forget what his name is. He was a surrogate or an advocate for child actors. There was Kitten, Princess, remember that? Jane Wyman or Wyatt?
Yeah.
Is it no Wyatt?
Very good.
Oh, that's all I know. Well, thank you for that. There was a comedian years ago who said, when I used to watch, what was it? He said, I used to watch Father Knows Best. It was Bud and Sport and Kitten. He goes, in my family, it was tramp, moron, and retard, which I thought was terrible. Gabe Kaplan had a line I liked years ago. He says, when I was a kid, I always wondered if I was, adopted. He goes, I know it sounds crazy, but one day I got up enough courage and I went up to my father. I said, Chinley, am I adopted? Anyway, that was funny. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Mark. Mark in Aurora, Illinois. You're on The Other Side of Midnight with Lionel.
On the other side of midnight, this is Lionel. He really roars. And if you're a mere cheesy mouse, this spring-loaded talk show host will trap you.
Thank you so much for that. Any verdict on that one? No. Did that make the reel? I don't think so. But thank you anyway. I appreciate that. Reese is calling from District 9 in California, not District 8. District 9. You're on the other side of midnight with Lionel. Reese.
Play Misty for me.
What?
Play Misty for me.
Okay. All right. That was very good.
I've always wanted to say that.
That was a great. Remember Clint Eastwood? Did you ever see Play Misty for me?
I love that movie.
Oh, did you guys ever see that? This is about this. He plays a disc jockey or something,
yes.
And this crazy woman calls him up and says, "Play Misty."
I'm around, that kind of area. So.
Yeah. These two youngsters looked at me and said, "Like, what the hell is she talking about?" Well, that's for our generation, there, Reese. Well, Reese, what is District?
I just wanted to say it.
Where is District 9?
I couldn't do it with a straight face, though.
Reese, you're milking this to death. Where is District 9?
Killer.
Where is District 9? Can you hear me, Reese? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear? There's something wrong. Yeah, I don't know.
You're telling me. You're telling me. By the way, 30 past the hour. Where
is District? Okay?
Where is District 9?
Oh, just. It's like California, Oregon, Washington, Arizona.
Okay, District 9 what? FEMA? What is it, District 9?
FEMA District 9, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Some people just refer to themselves as that, since we're already heading towards, like, FEMA districts.
Now, wait a minute. You're a woman after our own heart. I like this. You're like one of these conspiratorium freaks. I love that. You sound like an Alex Jones purveyor. You sound like an Alex Jones fan. FEMA 9, District 9.
I've been following those kinds of things since the early 90s, I would say.
Oh, me too.
Probably even before you. Like I listened to David Icke and, read his books and stuff. So.
Oh, David Icke with the reptilians and the lizard people and...
I'm not saying I believe everything, but it's interesting. I put it on the bookshelf. I put it on my mind shelf. And then if something comes true, then I go, oh, I heard about that before.
There's a, it's funny you say this. I don't care whether, like I was talking about my friend Anthony Cumia, I don't care what he's saying is true. I don't, since when do I care whether it's true? I mean, I don't care whether Curtis Lee is true. What does that mean, true? I don't know what that means. There was another guy too. It was David Icke who was into the reptilian and the planet, the royal family were snakes or whatever. There was another guy. His name was, remember Rentz? Ever hear this guy Rentz? Remember him? Is it Gary Rentz? It was wild. I love that stuff.
How about, oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. I should make notes because I'm not really good. I'm not good at remembering names.
That's apparent. But that's apparent. Well, see, I do that all the time, too. No, but the thing is, you've got so much you're thinking about. But there was a time, Art Bell, bless his heart, he was very good.
Yeah, I used to listen to Art Bell.
He was wonderful. How can anybody not? But there are other people today.
And the other guy that got killed by the FBI, what was his name?
Is this Berg?
No, the one that was like, he was at his house. And
Pale Rider?
The Pale Rider.
Yeah, Behold the Pale Rider. What is his name?
Behold the Pale Horse. That guy. See, we can think of the book, but we can't think of the guy's name.
No, hang on a minute.
You have the same disease that I have, right?
No, hang on a minute. You have CRS. Pale Horse, Pale Rider.
Behold a Pale Horse.
Behold. Okay, I just throw this in, and Pale Horse, Pale Rider.
It's a super easy name. It's like...
I know. Hey, I'm going to find it. Hang on. Okay. Author. I'm doing everything in my power to find this. Mm-hmm. This is going to drive me crazy. That's not it. Hang
Where's
on a
your
minute.
studio?
Oh, for the love of God. What, wait. Oh,
I'm just kidding.
wait a minute. I'm going to find this.
I can see it in my brain.
Who was the author? I'm talking. Who was the author who wrote Behold the Pale Horse, right? Pale Rider? Pale.
Behold a pale horse.
Milton William Cooper.
Bill Cooper.
Behold a Pale Horse.
Yes.
It was published in 1991, known
Yes.
for its exploration of various conspiracy theories, including those concerning government secrecy, UFOs, the assassination of John Kennedy, and the New World Order. And I want to know what happened to him.
Well, yeah.
Oh, hang on a second. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Hang on. We got to get to his death. Just a minute. Death. Here we go. As Cooper moved away from the ufology community and toward the militia and anti-government subculture in the 90s, he became convinced that he was being personally targeted by Bill Clinton and the Internal Revenue Service. Listen, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean it's not true. In July of 1998, he was charged with tax evasion. An arrest warrant was issued, but Cooper eluded repeated attempts to serve it. In 2000, he was named a major fugitive by the United States Marshal Service. On November the 5th, 2001, you know what happened in 2001, Apache County Sheriff's deputies attempted to arrest him at his Eager, Arizona home on charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and endangerment stemming from disputes with local residents. After an exchange of gunfire, during which Cooper shot one of the deputies in the head, Cooper was fatally shot. Federal authorities report that Cooper had spent years evading execution of the 1998 arrest warrant. He was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I
And
like
he was
these
apparently
grainy.
a very bad man.
Yeah, well,
according to the government.
Well, listen, you're after my own heart. So was Randall Weaver. So was everybody else.
Anybody just thinking about Randall Weaver today. Interesting you bring that. I was thinking about that today. Exactly. Ruby Ridge?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Like
What did he do to they came after him? Remember they were trying to serve. They claimed that he had either a silencer or some type of a device. And
it was a spook or something sold him a shotgun or something and told him like, oh, it's okay if you can saw off a 1/4 inch or like a 1/2 inch or 3/4, whatever, and you can sell this like that. And so I don't know, he bought it or sold it. And the shotgun barrel was like tiny bits too short for the legislative, governing body to,
Right. There was something involving either he had a shotgun that was apparently sawed off too much. Anyway, they executed this warrant, killed his wife and his son and the dog. And said, what are you doing?
They shot his wife in the head while she was holding the baby standing in the doorway. I know. And,
what about
the weird thing with me, I was pregnant at that time and I had a little baby at that time when that was happening. I was hearing about it and it was so traumatic to me. That's like that was a really traumatic story.
What about later on, David Koresh? Why didn't they did you remember how they pumped? They actually had this long kind of a turret that they would pump or it would break into the house. The Branch Davidians, remember the Branch Davidians? They pumped gas or something into it. That eventually caught fire, killed these people. Why did they just surround them and say, listen, come out. You've got kids in there. There's no hurry.
Well, and they weren't, they weren't hurting anyone. They weren't going out and robbing stores or looting or murdering or anything. They were just like minding their own business, kind of. Look, that's what I don't get. Like, why does the government sometimes go after people who are just minding their own business and trying to do their own?
Remember something, which is there's a truism. Remember this. Whenever Democrats are involved in charge, the bad guys are always homegrown. Militias, constitutional people, Tea Party, Branch Davidians. This is Bill Clinton, David Koresh, Timothy McVeigh. That's Democrats. When Republicans are in power, the bad guys are always terrorists, foreign, outside, because of the I hate to say it, of Democrats or Republicans. I'll go with Republicans because at least they look elsewhere for the specter of the bad guy. Democrats hate you using the Constitution to go after them. Remember the Mayak, was it the Mayak report? There was a story. If you look at the Mayak report, this was a document.
How do you spell Mayak?
Oh, God. You'd have to ask that. Hang on a minute.
Okay,
let me see this. Hang on a minute. Let me get my Chat GPT out. Hang on. Mayak report, constitutional. Let me see something. Mayak. M-A-Y. Let me see. M-A-Y-A-K. No, that comes like K, a kayak. That's not it. Mayak. Don't bother us, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to finish this. And
never mind. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But what happened is there was a document that was put out, and law enforcement used it, and they would say things like things to be on the lookout for: people who have cars with American flags, people who refer to the Constitution, people who talk about liberty, and the Gadsden flag, and that sort of thing. And
I want to get American flag to fly, in front of our house this last 4th of July, and I was kind of thinking, like, maybe I shouldn't do that because it might put a target on my house. I live in a kind of a liberal area, and but I'm not going to not do it because of that. But I just, you have to think about stuff like that because there's so many crazy people out there that hate our country. They actually hate our country. They think that it's horrible, and they attack people who like our country. So I don't know what to do about that.
Well, look at January 6th. January 6th was absolutely something which was one of the most interesting. There were people, and I ask this question, and nobody can answer me. Do you know that there are, I don't know if there are people who are all out of, how do I say this? Who are absolutely out of
ammo?
Confinement. No, not ammo. Listen to you, ammo. No, confinement. I don't really know what they were charged with. This was one of the most fascinating setups ever, especially when you go back. And Nancy Pelosi was told by Donald Trump, listen, you're going to need some, National Guardsmen or whatever. That the idea that these people could have possibly been responsible for an overthrow, because look what happened. Look who the only person was killed. Look at Ashley Babbitt. The idea of this American patriot, Gadsden flag, and who was in charge then? It was technically Biden and those guys, but it was Trump theoretically. It was during the transition. Let me tell you something. Either way, however you do it, they always have to come up with a way of scaring you and doing something to control you. And remember, there's also the wonderful thing about the Hegelian dialectic. I know you know this. The idea of problem, reaction, solution. Everybody knows it. It's also thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Problem, reaction, solution. If you're the government, create a problem. Create something that makes people upset. Then reaction.
Scared.
People react and they're afraid. Please help us, help us. Followed by solution. Okay, we'll take care of this, but we're going to have to limit and truncate some of your rights in order to do so. It's age old. It works like a charm every single time.
And one thing that I love, the quote or the term that I think Ike invented is it's called the totalitarian tiptoe.
And explain that.
They distract you with things. They make you scared, and then while you're scared and you're distracted and you're worried about these other things, they're tiptoeing up in the back like a cartoon, like the Boris and the Natasha, like they're creeping up to take over the world while you're distracted with other stuff. The totalitarian tiptoe.
Remember, a couple of things which are also interesting. One of the things that we have always, when you get involved in this, it's so scary when you think about what are some of the things that people talked about? Years ago, it was New World Order. Sounded crazy. And even though everybody was saying this, from George Herbert Walker Bush to Gordon Brown to Kissinger, it was everywhere. The idea of a globalist, not takeover, but a parallel kind of like a dual citizenship. Then there were things like Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, Codex Alimentarius, things that we knew. And when you tell people this, rather than they are saying, let me look this up, they look at you as though you're crazy. During the fires during LA fires, they were actually putting out almost wish lists for 15-minute cities. They wanted to completely change the actual population of this area. There were two things they wanted more than anything else to get rid of these houses for, which happened to coincide. One was the Olympics. The second one was FIFA, the World Cup. And wouldn't it be great if we could just get rid of all these old houses and kind of collect people? Well, when you say that, they said, that's crazy. Well, what happened? Ta-da! Fires. And they're never really brought back to square one. And remember something. When instead of people wanting to embrace what you're saying, instead of people saying, where can I learn something about this? They will dismiss what you're saying as crazy, unless what you're saying is religious. If it's religious, it's okay. This morning I heard from the Word of God who said, that's okay. That's all right. That scares me more than somebody who says, I've got a document here that I can read, as opposed to God speaking to me. Listen, Reese, you take care. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. 800-848-9222. More coming up on the other side of midnight.
The other side of midnight.
Did you see where Marjorie Taylor Greene says she could leave the GOP because its party has turned its back on America? I don't know if the Republican Party is leaving me or if I'm kind of not relating to Republican Party as much anymore. And she is very, very upset because she believes that Trump and others are threatening. Here we go. Marjorie Taylor Greene writes, Our nation is $37 trillion in debt. We are approaching another September 30th government funding deadline. Our Republican-controlled Congress is nowhere near our appropriations bills, and we are out on recess until September 2nd. If the plan of action is another CR that will leave out much-needed appropriation requests that benefit our districts, she's going on and on. Plus, she does not like what is going on regarding Israel and the like, and it proves not so much Israel, but in this support, if you will. There's a fantastic, a bit of change going on in the world. By the way, I've been going crazy trying to find this MIAC report. And I remember hearing about this a while back. I remember that during the time of the Tea Party and the Gadsden flag and the people who believed in 1776 they were considered to be lunatics, crazy people, because of the idea of they would cite things like, what was it, the Jeffersonian references said the tree of liberty from time to time must be fertilized or watered with blood. And anyway, and sometimes I think people might have been a tad, perhaps maybe enthralled by this. During January 6th, there were some folks walking around with that dude with the eye patch and others wearing camo outfits. And, I thought maybe yes. That wonderful moment where Alex Jones screamed at Piers Morgan and said 1776 and that sort of thing. And I think there's a sort of a tendency for some people to laugh and mock those of us who believe very deeply in the antecedents and the foundations of such for our country. And may I suggest, please go to Philadelphia and check out the Constitution Museum, and it's wonderful. But remember what I said. Historically, those individuals, the people who always viewed that sort of ideology as problematic, were during democratic times. That's all. Let's go back to the phones, back to what I call fun. Russ in White Plains. Russ, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Greenwich Village, Bedbug Eddie.
Thank you so much. Harvey in upstate New York. Harvey, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Good morning. Great show.
Thank you,
really
sir.
Appreciate you. Anyway, I get these. I call them. They send their phone numbers or whatever, and they're always beautiful.
Who are they? Wait, who are you talking about? Who?
Women, just women in general. They get in touch with you, and then they try to scam you out of money.
Wait a minute. Women are contacting you?
Not me per se, but just they try to get men on the internet to send them money.
Well, how do you know this?
Because they asked me for it.
See, I told you. So they're coming after you. So women on the internet will target you?
Not me per se. Everybody, any man or woman for that matter.
I have not been targeted. I'm sure it's out there. But you say not me per se. Tell me an instance where a woman did target you. And what is her MO? How did she do it?
Well, they advertise. They want to be your friend
on the internet.
On the internet, YouTube. Anyway,
yeah.
So they're trying to get in touch with you, and if you respond to them, they become your. They tell you they want to be your lover, your husband.
Have you responded to them?
Yes.
Now wait a minute.
Times.
Now hang on a second. Now wait a minute. See, now we're on to something. Now we're knowing why. So on YouTube. I don't know. How does a woman contact you on YouTube?
Oh, no, on Facebook. I'm sorry.
Oh, Facebook. Oh, okay.
Yeah. My mistake.
Okay. So on Facebook.
I'm a little bit nervous.
Listen, Harvey, take it easy. I'm your best friend. Now, so you're doing Facebook, and then somebody will get a hold of you and say like, "Hey, Harvey, hey, good looking, handsome. Tell me how it works."
Okay, they put their face or whatever on the
book
on their and they ask you, "I want to be your friend. Would you be my friend?" You know, I'm new here on this broadcast, and so they talk to you and they try to get you to give them information.
Now, was this a particular group? Is this a channel or a group of people who are meeting, like
No.
people in
No,
radio or people in TV? You just in general.
It's just all over the internet.
And do they provide a picture of themselves?
Yes, and they're all gorgeous.
Of course.
They. I've yet to see an ugly one.
No, but, it's called catfishing, I believe, is what the kids call it. So, did you ever?
Right. Yes.
Did you ever reach out to one of these women?
Yes, many times.
Many times. Many times.
And eventually, because what they do is they come to a point where they, you know what, my child needs a doctor, or I need gas money, and they want to come visit me, so they need money to buy the gas.
Of course.
To come visit me.
And have you ever given them gas money?
Never.
Come on, be honest, Harvey.
Okay, I almost did it one time.
Okay.
Almost. No, I didn't do it because this, she kept asking me to invest in Bitcoin.
What
in other words, what they do is they get you to buy something for like $100.
Now, Harvey.
And then and then they get your information.
There you go. Now, Harvey, now listen to me. You can tell me now. Nobody's listening.
Okay.
Have any of these women ever sent you like nude pictures or anything, or?
Come on. In fact, I have, yes.
Yes,
one or two.
Of course. And don't tell me the nude pictures were gorgeous, right? They look almost professional.
Yeah.
Aha.
Exactly.
Almost like a centerfold or something, right?
Right, and but they also
now. Did you ever send a picture back? Did you ever send a picture back of yourself nude?
No.
Well, maybe you should.
You're right. I'll somehow get a picture of you.
Yeah, no. Please. There's plenty of that going around. We don't need any more of that. So anyway, when these women contact you, have you ever talked to them on the phone?
Once or twice I did. But,
and when you've talked to them on the phone, have you ever enjoyed any phone intimacy? I think you know what we're talking about there, huh?
No, not verbally, but
what would you write? Would you write notes? I mean, what do you mean? Smoke signals? What do you mean?
Texting back and forth. What they're going to do to me, and how they're going to treat me, and how wonderful life is going to be.
In a text.
But send me the money. Send me money.
And send me money. So they will say to you, have they ever been overtly sexual with you? Things that they will do, like whips and chains and Great Danes, hospital for life. That's no Martin Mulder.
Yes. All that garbage.
Yeah.
But I've never.
No.
One woman or whatever. I've called them gorillas and men. Who knows what they are and who they are.
You've called them gorillas.
Yeah, because they start cursing at me when I realize that I'm taking them for a ride.
Oh, you're taking them for a ride.
Yes.
So they curse at you, and then after you take them for a ride, then you call them a gorilla. That'll work.
No. It's when they get to the point where they find out that I'm just talking to them, and nothing's going to happen.
Harvey, are you still doing this? Are you still doing this now? Be honest with me.
Right now, no.
Oh, but you're talking to me right now.
Yeah, but aren't you? You're not exactly gorgeous.
No, not at all. Now, Harvey, how old are you? How old are you, my friend?
85.
85 years old.
1940.
Are you a single?
Yeah.
Are you a single man? Are you a?
Yes, I'm single. I'm alone. I have 2 dogs, and
have you ever tried? Have you ever tried other type of computer dating, or Tindery for older folks, or isn't there a name for that? Have you ever tried that?
They do all the same. I've yet to find somebody on the internet that wants me for, to meet them and go out socially. but I'm just as happy. I've had enough with women, in the past. I'd rather have my 2 dogs.
Now, Harvey, do you look for women your own age or women considerably younger than you?
Well, generally speaking, they're all younger.
Aha. But what is your preference?
I have no preference because it's all a scam. It's
Forget
all
that.
nonsense.
If you had, assuming it wasn't a scam, what would be your preference? What would be the ideal age for you? Ideally.
Idea would be about a woman who takes care of themselves. It doesn't matter how old they are.
Doesn't matter at all. They could be older than you. They could be 90 and take care of themselves. Yeah, see, I know. Come on, Harvey. It's me you're talking to. What are you, somebody young, like 30, 40? Come on, half your age? Be honest.
I'd rather be. First of all, I tell them I'm 65.
You liar! You're a catfisher.
Yes.
You're a liar.
Yes, right.
That's okay.
One reason I started doing this is to have them take their time up, because they go out and they actually get people to send them money.
I know that.
And
we've made that very clear.
Now, I just stay on the phone.
May I ask you something?
Busy.
May I ask you something? Why don't you try? Why don't you try asking for money?
I can't do that.
Why not? What's the matter with you? If they really like you, what if somebody says, "Listen, to prove your good faith, your bona fides, I would like to come to visit you, but I need car money. You do it. See what they say." What if somebody says, "Sure, I'll give you money"?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
No.
They're going to tell me that.
No, wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, I see your point.
No, but wouldn't that be something? If a woman said, "Harvey, I really want to meet you. I'll send you, whatever the money is, $500 in Bitcoin or Ether coin or whatever the heck it is. I'll do it. I'll send it to you." Wouldn't that be a sign that maybe this woman maybe is interested in you?
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
Harvey, what are your hobbies? What are your hobbies? If you went out and met with a woman, where would you take them? What would you do? Give us an idea of your wild, wacky life. What would you do?
I'm somewhat religious, even though I do this stuff.
Even though you want to pick up these trollops and want to pay for them like slatterns on the internet, you're a religious person. And I like that. Because after all, Christ hung around Mary Magdalene. Hey, you know what they said about her? So, but tell me what you would do, Harvey.
Take them out? I wouldn't. I have no desire to be physically social with them.
Physically social?
I'm 85.
What does that have to do with it? You're a man. You're in the prime of your life right now. You're telling me you're not, there isn't this sexual beast that is screaming to be released like this King Kong inside of you that's ready to explode? Come on, Harvey.
It's too expensive.
What do you, I mean, not if you don't have to pay for it, but what if money wasn't an object? See, I think what you're doing is, I think you're afraid. And I think all you're doing is you have an excuse for everything. Well, it's too much. You're going to scam. I think there's a part of you that's frightened. That's timorous. That's
okay.
You're unsure of yourself, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with it.
No. You're right in some ways, because when it comes to a point where they say, "Well, I'm coming over. Just send me a few dollars," I get scared. That's when I get scared.
You know what, Harvey? You know why? Because it is scary. Aside from the fact that this person may be, number one, a serial killer who has a boyfriend I'm serious, who's waiting outside, who's going to slit your throat. Don't think I'm kidding.
Right.
Aside from that, even if you were to meet in a restaurant, it is kind of scary. It's awkward. It's weird. But let me tell you something, Harvey. As soon as they meet you and they get a hold of your effervescent personality, you are in like Flint.
Okay.
All right, Harvey.
I tell you what, one more thing. I was living in Arizona for a long time. I come back to New York, and So I tell them I'm living in Arizona.
There you go. Now,
I
listen,
give them
nothing wrong with a little creative lying. You're a good man, Charlie Brown. 800-848-9222. Give him a couple of bucks.
The Other Side of Midnight.
Has this ever happened to you? Is there any of you find, you might have had a horrible experience, something so horrible, so terrible, you don't want anybody to know about it? A disaster so horrible. Because people lie about their age. They lie about, I've known people, we have had sort of a friend, and this woman had like multiple accounts, and oh my God. I mean, it's got to be risky. You've got to be very, very, very scary, very, very careful. Yetta knows about this. Yet another call. Yetta, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Hey, Lionel, thanks for taking my call. Now, I was listening to Harvey.
Yes.
And he's from New York. Mm-hmm. I'm also from New York City. But he doesn't seem to understand that his experience was him being catfished.
Yes.
Catfishing goes on the computer. He doesn't seem to understand what that's all about. They create pages, fake pages. They're frauds.
Now,
from
Yetta,
all over the world. You don't even know where they're from.
Yetta, you sound like you. Yetta, you sound like.
The whole purpose is to grift.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yetta, you seem like you know a little bit about this. Tell me you haven't done this yourself.
No, I never did it,
but
I was a victim of it.
Tell me. Oh, you have?
I never catfished anybody.
You were the victim of it?
I'm not interested in catfishing. I'm real. But I was catfished.
What happened?
Well, I don't want to go into too much detail about my personal life. I know you do, but I do a popular internet broadcast.
Uh-oh.
And I have a lot of people that watch me. And some of them will create fraudulent profiles.
Well, Yetta, do you want to plug yourself? You want to give us how we can?
I don't.
Well, how do you expect to grow your platform if you don't let people know who you are?
I'm popular enough.
Listen to you.
I'm savvy to the situation. They're going to troll me. I don't need more trolls.
Is that your name, Yetta? Is that your name?
I don't know who's listening. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who's listening, and it makes me too vulnerable. So I'm not going to plug anything yet.
Yetta, I got to be honest with you. Especially here, you are listening to the day room at Creedmoor, so I don't blame you for being a little
yeah, I have to be skeptical and cautious. I've had bad experiences.
But just give me a rough example.
The next thing you know, they're sending you a pizza.
Oh,
or they're you make yourself vulnerable to all of
Wait
this.
a minute. They send you a pizza?
Sure they do. Worse than that.
Well, tell me what happened.
Some of them show up in the lobby of my building.
No.
That they find ways to find out who you are, to find out your information, and you have to be very, very careful. Listen, I always say, no matter what level of fame you have, okay, these kooks will crawl out of the woodwork.
That's exactly
and do
right.
what they want to do.
Well, tell me about without going too much into detail. Give me one of the worst ones you've ever been through, please.
All right,
I beg you.
I've been broadcasting since 2011, so...
You must be tired.
Excuse me?
Nothing. Go ahead.
I didn't hear what you said.
I said you must be tired. You've been broadcasting since 2011. You must be exhausted.
Well, I'm a retired school teacher, so...
Well, there you go.
I was a teacher in New York City for 35 years, so I had to find ways to reinvent myself, or I would be bored, I'd have nothing to do day after day. So
tell me what happened.
All right. So when I started broadcasting, I became very popular.
Listen to you.
I did.
Oh, you're very. By the way, it's 30 past the hour. That's what people to know that. I like the way you say, "I'm very, very popular." I'm very popular.
And by the way, I'm almost as old as Harvey. I'm 78.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, I had one fellow who got very attached to me.
Uh-oh.
And I would broadcast every day, so he would watch on a consistent basis. And he created a very bizarre dynamic with me.
Like what?
Well, he would sort of stalk me, want to know one of the shows I was watching, and he would get jealous. And say I shouldn't be going here, I shouldn't be going there, I should be more loyal to him.
Well, how would he contact you?
I went down that rabbit hole.
How would he contact
me? He would contact me, message me. There's a message box. And he would message me.
Did you ever meet him?
On my internet site.
Did you meet him?
I wanted to meet him. That's why he was a catfish. Catfishes will never meet anybody.
Really?
They want to remain anonymous. He told me he was from the United States, but
that kind of narrows it down, doesn't it?
Well, no, I had reason to believe he was in Canada. He wasn't even truthful.
Even worse.
That.
Even worse.
So, yeah.
Now, did you ever meet anybody successfully? Did you ever meet somebody where it turned out to be nice? What happened?
Oh, I met a lot of people
really?
through my show. Yeah.
You little hussy, you.
I mean,
you are just trolling.
No, I met other broadcasters. I met...
Listen to you, a broadcaster. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. Did you ever have anything that really turned out to be, you
mean romantic?
Yes.
No, never anything romantic.
Why?
No.
What's the matter with you?
I just didn't. I don't know. It didn't go in that direction. I was basically meeting, how can I say it, fans, I guess I would call them.
You are
who just liked my show, and then they would say they're coming to New York. And would I meet them? And I met them, for dinner or around New York City.
And did they pay?
Public places. I always pay.
You paid?
Whoever.
Wow.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, unbelievable. Now,
can you
give us an idea? If we want to follow you, don't you want to plug your site?
No, I don't, Lionel. I'm not going to do it because I don't know who's listening.
But that's the whole
point.
Telling you, I don't know who's listening either. That's the beauty of this.
Yeah, I know, but
that's the danger.
I don't want to do it. I just don't feel comfortable.
All right. Well, Yetta, you seem like a nice lady, and I wish you, but be very careful. A lot of nuts out there, okay?
There are nuts. That's
you
why
better
I'm
believe
careful.
it.
Maybe in a call down the line, but right now I just don't want to do it.
I don't blame you. Now, by the way, look at this. Blaze is getting just disgusted. What's the matter with you? What, you don't believe her? You seem rather incredulous.
I've never heard of anybody who has a show that goes, I don't want to promote my show.
Right.
I don't know who's out there. Nobody knows who's out there. If people find you, you don't know who found you.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you want to plug your content and what you're doing?
See, but I'm gonna do her thing. I'm gonna say I'm very popular.
Yeah, she's so popular that she doesn't want to promote the show.
I'm very popular. I don't want to in any way have gentlemen callers. People bother me because I'm very popular. And I go by the name Riff Raff. This is my name I use. And my online personas, I play a 23-year-old wayward waif, a young man, rudderless, kind of like a cork on this ocean of life, unable to make commitments. And I play a middle-aged man who walks around the boardwalk on Wednesdays by himself, yelling, girly, girly, cheap. It's not a great life, but it's all I have.
I have people who contact me. They're coming to New York, and then I meet them for dinner. I don't know them.
And I pay them.
And I pay. But I don't want to promote my own content.
And how many shows do you think have Yetta? Now, by the way, I looked up Yetta, and you know what I got when I first saw Yetta?
I know what you got, because I looked it up, too.
Yes, you did. I got the Yetta from The Nanny.
Yeah.
And I thought...
Like hundreds and hundreds of clips of Yetta from The Nanny.
Right. I'm thinking, that's her? And she's got to worry about... Could be. Listen, I think... I like the way she refers to herself as a broadcaster. I've been a broadcaster since 2011. And I'm very popular. And I have a lot of fans and acolytes and those people who wish me well and harm simultaneously. I'm known from time to time as a dominatrix. I'm not proud of that. I have my own leather gear. I have that the thing that they call the ball in the mouth. I have that in my car. It's a Rambler. It's a classic. I have that. I have a cat of nine tails, and I always have I have a tackle box. Let's always have dry ice and cream cheese. One never knows. Bing cherries and a slingshot. I prefer. I like to make a paste out of brine shrimp and lather it on parts of my body and squat over a goldfish bowl. Call me weird. Brine shrimp is a wonderful icebreaker, and I don't pay for dessert. That's different. I have a strict limit. If you want to go over the $23.90, is at my favorite diner. Murray and I have a deal where we work. I can go on and on. I got to stop. Let's go to Harry in South Africa, Brooklyn. I don't know what that means. Harry, you're next.
Yeah.
Harry,
Hi, I want to speak to the man. I mean the woman. What was her name? Gertrude. He's a broadcaster.
Yetta, not Gertrude. Yetta.
Yetta. Hey. No, he's Neil. Yetta. Yeah. Is she still on the line?
She sure is. Hang on, do you want to talk to her?
No. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
hang on a second. Hello, Harry.
Okay, Yetta. Yeah.
Hello, Harry. This is Yetta. Talk to me. Make it count. Give me the high, hard one. Turn your head and cough. Show me who's boss. Give me a headboard call.
How do I sound?
All right. This is getting weird. This is weird even for my taste. Oh, God.
Broadcasting since 2011.
2011, that's right. Nothing but the best. I have a number of friends. I'll tell you what, Yetta, we should have an open invitation. If she wants to come down, we'll escort her. I mean, maybe she can give me some tips, what she's done, have her set up.
I want to know what's her show about. What does she do?
Oh, I've got to find it now. I have got to. I mean, isn't that it? But then she had a wonderful, like a certitude. Referred to herself as I don't even refer to myself as a broadcaster. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. But she's very, very, very professional. I'm a broadcaster. I'm very popular.
And they want to meet me. I guess they're fans and they want to meet me.
And I always pay. This is like reverse catfishing. This is called schmuck fishing. You're a schmuck and you're, anyway, a kid, of course. Kevin, you're next, Kevin.
Lionel, I love your format, your outlook on life. You touch so many people and you give people so much time to respond, and that's very appreciated. I have two quick statements. You said it's the lunatic hour.
Indeed.
Remind me of my brother who passed away. He played in a band they called the Lunatics. We'll play on words.
I love that. What a great name, the Salunatics. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
He had a music studio. They called it Flipside Studios. All right, but anyway, what I wanted to call about was George Washington went in as an independent because he said or believed that two-party system would tear the country apart. Thank you so much, and keep it going. I wish I hooked up with you all 10, 15 years back.
Thank you so much, Kevin. That has got to be one of the strangest. Wasn't that perfect? Wasn't that my late brother, Salunatics, George Washington, Yetta? Thank you very much. I love that. By the way, send that to sales. Riff, if you could send them an MP3 to sales with love from me, especially the Yetta. Yetta could be. Let me tell you something. We might need some fill-in work. Think about it. Then again, I got to be crazy because remember, there's an old radio trick. There's an old thing. If ever somebody asks you to fill in for them, they don't think you're a threat. They don't think you're better than them or any chance of you being better. So what's like an insult? When somebody says, hey, look, I want to be on vacation. You want to sit in for me? That means you don't think I'm worth a damn. Because you would never let somebody who's better than you sit in for you. You know what I mean? Now, Yetta, I would let sit in for me. Call me crazy. Maybe I'm a famous last words. But if we could, I want to talk to some horrible stories. I love these catfishing stories and these people that you've met that were horrible. Let's go. First of all, first. I wish I could. I wish I could. Elias writes, Frankie, Glendale, Screw Magazine, Yetta. Now, I don't even know how. I know you didn't on your own come up with that. So I have to go to Frankie. You're next. Frankie.
Ta-ta!
My God.
Come on. You remember those days? They used to sell those Screw magazines on the corner of that little dirty little candy store. I don't know. For some reason, when I heard this segment, I thought she probably had an ad in the back of the magazine somewhere.
I don't think she would. I think she's quite a lady. I don't think she would have her back. Remember though, Al Goldstein. Remember when he did the Midnight Blue and. Remember Al Goldstein? Was it Midnight Blue?
Yeah, I couldn't remember the name. You brought it up. There you go.
You know, I met him one time for lunch. I had lunch with Al Goldstein one time. And he was a very, very, I think his son or his daughter went to Harvard Law School or something. If memory serves me. He was very interesting and also very, very tame. Compared to what I remember him by, you know that he was quite the entertainer. Who was the other woman? What was her name? Who did that late at night? She banged your box, or what was her name? Oh God, you know who I'm talking about. Help me, the woman at night. What is her name? She always had this. Let's sit back. Let's give it up for, Bunny, whatever. Oh God, somebody help me with this. What is her name? Quick! I'm sending out a request. Her name is. What is her name? Hang on a minute. Somebody will help me. Let's go to Don in New Jersey. Don, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Lionel, I'm finally getting used to all the energy. You wake me up in the morning.
Thank you, sir.
On my way to work.
I guess.
One quick thing. Do you think Yetta might be T.J. McCormick altering his voice?
That's always a possibility, sir.
But my real question is, sometimes in your sign-off you say, the good Lord willing and the creek don't rise.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get that from somebody? Because I've heard that once before.
Oh, that's an old expression.
For a radio sign-off, though?
No. I say the monkey's dead, the show's over. That's my...
that one, I'd like to hear the story of that, but have you heard of Hugh Hamilton?
No, I have not, sir.
Or something, so he said it in a really cool accent.
By the way, this is one of the best... Robin. That's her name, Robin. No, what's her name? Robin. Come on, work it. Help me. Robin, Batman and Robin. No, Robin. Hang on, Robin. I'm going to get it now. Hang on a minute. I have these people who are listening to me who remember this. Robin Bird. An American former pornographic actress and host of the Robin Bird Show. Bless her heart. Yep. That was, you know what? I put it this way. If you watch, you've seen Robin Bird, right? If you watched her, couple of minutes, you kind of caught on, with it. But it was like so tame. What was the one? Also late at night, there was something else. Was it Midnight Blue? There was a certain panache to it. We don't have that anymore. If that makes any sense. In any event. Oh my God. Let's go back to the phone. It's back to the fun. By the way, don't even, you know what, Riff, just put a name. Don't even worry about it. What the hell do I care? Let's just put a name in there. Let's go to you, line 2. You're next. Are you on the air? Line
yes,
2.
Hello?
Yes. Your name and the call and the town that you're from, please.
Jill, but Robin Bird was the answer to your question.
That's right. Robin Bird, as I just said. Were you a big Robin Bird fan?
Well, you couldn't watch that much back then. So, yeah, I was. And Ugly George. Remember Ugly George?
Ah, yes, yes.
I met him on the street. He wanted me to go into an alleyway with him.
Did you?
No.
Come on.
And then my father was going to bust his head open.
Ugly George, if I recall correctly, would get women to go into alleys, whatever, and to expose themselves.
Yes. He would say he's going to make them a movie star.
Uh-huh.
And they would do it. They would go into alleyways
But
with
never
him.
you. But never you.
Never me, no, because I watched it. I knew I was on to it.
You were on to it. All right, my friends. 800-848-9222. Well, that took a little bit of you hit the thing there. I thought of you today. I was going to text you. There was a woman who was trying to scam an Indian scammer. And she says she was in her car and she was pretending she was trying to get her car, and she played the car losing control, and it was our car losing control. And how she would hear that. Anyway, I thought of you. I was going to email it to you, but I forgot. 800-848-9222. We are having just the time of our lives. And in the last couple of minutes, if we could, there has to be someone, somewhere, who was a part of some type of online something or there's some disaster story, an absolute horror story you've never wanted anybody to know about. Please use a different name. Don't use your correct city. But tell us about the horror and the hell you went through as you perhaps were catfished and scammed. Something that leaves you to sometimes wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat.
The Other Side of Midnight.
I cannot possibly imagine, especially now and today, anything being more frighteningly dangerous than meeting people who are complete strangers. I would trust, and I would only ask that if you were to do this, and if you were a woman, obviously that you do this in public, and also, if you can, tell them you're wearing something, but wear something else, so that you could sit there and look and check this goon who walks in, and if he looks like Broderick Crawford or something, you can just opt not to walk up. You know what I'm saying? So if you're saying I'm wearing a red whatever it is with a sash, wear something completely different, hide in the corner, and be able to say, why? It's called deception. It's called complete and total deception. I have no idea that, I don't know when this happened, but do you remember, Blaze, this is before, when people would actually look at the back of a news, like a magazine, and it said like, SWF seeks to meet, that's it, call, no picture, no lying, no, this is what I do, I like rock climbing and the opera, nothing.
There was just personal ads. Remember personal ads in the newspaper?
Right.
That said that when you were looking for somebody, there was no dating app.
Right.
That was the dating app. If you really wanted to find somebody, you put an ad out in a newspaper or a local paper or wherever, and you'd get phone calls. You're right, no picture.
But it was just single white female. I hope it's single, or white or whatever. But that's it. That was it. No lying, no pictures, no nothing. No. And that sufficed. Then later on, remember that guy from eHarmony, that kind of creepy old man goes, your friend, you're meeting the person. Is he around anymore? It was like, this guy is like, I don't know if I want you involved in necessarily working out the calculus of my dating, as it were. But then there were others, I think Tinder, and then others as well. Oh, years ago, this was the worst. When I did, it was one of the first, it was really the first internet radio show called IATA.com. Nobody, I mean, this was the very first. And we could do anything we wanted because there was no FCC, there was no nothing. For some reason, I don't know why, we got a hold of Russian dating sites. And they were so sad. I mean, sad. So I was fascinated by it. Later on, there was a special. And they showed 3 cases. One was these men would go to certain places in Russia, and there would be like a dining hall, or almost like something where you would go to like a reception. I mean, big. 3, 4 guys, 5 guys would walk in. There could be 50 women, 100 women with big numbers on them, like cattle, like something out of like rodeo, like a number. And some people, and they would bring their best clothes, and some would even bring their children with them. And they would just walk around, and these guys felt like they were the studs of all time. And these women who were just desperately trying to meet somebody. And it was so pathetic. Anyway, so that was one particular case. There was a Russian woman who went, and she was very, very happy. There was a successful one. Then there was a woman who went, and she was basically enslaved. But the worst was this man who went to Russia, met this woman. I don't know what they did. They killed him. It's not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing. Why am I saying it's not funny if I'm laughing? Anyway, he went there. They killed her. And this woman and her husband worked in concert. And they had his casket. And oh my God, it fascinated me. So as we would sit and read, we would just read on the air these descriptions of what they were looking for. And maybe it was because of the language, but invariably, because alcoholism apparently was a problem, the number one word they used to describe this was calm. That was it. Calm. Just no problems, nothing special, nothing about money or future. Just please be calm. Gary in South Jersey, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Love your show, Lionel.
Thank you, Gary.
Listen as much as I can. But you were talking about this. When I was a kid, I grew up in Brooklyn, and I used to deliver a newspaper called the Brooklyn Eagle. And it was, to the borough, basically. And they used to have a ton of these ads. And I was thinking, when we used to go to pick up our papers at the store, the depot, so to speak, we would we were teenage kids. We would sit around and read some of these and just roll over laughing. So you brought back a good memory.
And also, Gary, what I find interesting, that sufficed. There was nothing there. There was no information. It was, maybe yours was different.
No, well, what it is that people used to pay for an ad in the back.
No, I know that.
And it was the Lonely Hearts type.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that there was no picture. There was it was just the most bare bones SWF, single white female, I think, seeks, and that's it. Call me. That was it. No picture, no nothing. That's it. Homeless Mike is calling from Las Vegas. Mike, how are you, buddy boy?
I'm doing pretty good, not too bad. I want to give you my take on the Russian thing. I grew up on the same propaganda, I thought they were all drunk on vodka, but my experience was a lot different. The only other girl that I went out with besides my wife was from Russia. Really? And it was when I lived down in Texas, and she was beautiful. Just, oh my God, long blonde hair. But the thing that was strange is her and her whole family were picket fence. They were Biff, and with the Letterman jacket, and they were more American than American that I've seen. And,
picket fence. What does that mean?
Well, you like a white picket fence. You know what I'm saying? You know, the perfect, house, 2.2 kids.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was some kind of a street term for what they looked like or something along those lines. Listen, by the way, are you doing all right, Mike? Are you doing all right?
Yeah, I'm trying to do all right. I think I'm doing okay. I've been, getting out of being so depressed, so that's good.
Well, listen, I want you to make sure you always call us and just check in because you're a good soul. You know that?
I do artwork, a lot of artwork, and I was going to put some on your site, but I couldn't find anywhere I figure it out, so I'll figure it out.
Well,
so
just look for Yetta. She's got plenty of room on hers, Mike. Thank you so much. By the way, just to let you know, we found you, Yetta. We found you. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you so much, Riff Raff. Thank you, my friend Elias, and thank you, Mr. Blaze, and thank you for listening. This is Lionel with you. Back tomorrow, reminding you again, don't forget the website, Lionel.news, Lionel.news. And until then, remember these final words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue